Good afternoon and welcome to the Livingston Parish News Daily Show for the afternoon of September the 19th, 2019. I'm Drew Walker, the Community Liaison here at the News. Thanks for joining me. As always, we can be found online at our website, livingstonparishnews.com. A subscription is only $5 a month. Gets you access to everything we have to offer: news, sports, lifestyle, arts and entertainment, and business. We are also spread across social media. We are on Facebook. We do these Facebook Lives every day, mornings and afternoons, 7:30 and 4:30 most days. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So give us a like and a follow on all of those platforms and stay up to date with what's going on in Livingston Parish. We have our long-form podcast, which is the LPN Weekly. We distribute it both on our website in audio and video form. That's livingstonparishnews.com/podcasts. You can also find replays of these morning and afternoon shows there as well. Again, both audio and video. We also distribute the audio versions of our long-form podcast to major podcast apps, including Google, Apple, and Spotify. We released one, had a little trouble uploading it, so it came out this morning. It was all about the constitutional amendments that are going to be on the ballot on October 12th. Right now we're uploading the football show, the weekly football show that comes out on Thursdays, that takes a look back at last week's action as well as a look ahead to this week's big rivalry game happening in the eastern part of the parish, so that was a fun one to sit in on. Like I said, it's uploading now, so it'll be available later this evening on all of those channels. And tomorrow we'll talk about it a little bit, but we'll have another one coming out tomorrow, a third one for the week. You got a lot going on right now, so it'll be coming out, and it's all about what's going on at the parish level with FEMA. So really in depth. I'll get into it. We had a story released today, so we'll get into that a little bit later on. Again, those are available on our website, livingstonparishnews.com/podcasts, as well as major podcast apps. So real quick, we'll take a look at traffic. Traffic is pretty terrible if you are coming in from Baton Rouge. From downtown to the 10-12 split, it is heavily backed up. There are some slowdowns. It actually just got even worse. Some slowdowns from right before Airline Highway, headed eastbound on I-12 until about the O'Neill-Millerville area. After that, it's clear into Livingston Parish on I-12, so just be aware of that. One thing of note, there is a crash on LA-16 right there in between, right there as you're approaching the Lockhart intersection north of Denham Springs. There is a crash right there. It looks like it may be slowing traffic down coming southbound in particular. Other than that, not too many areas of note. Jubin, of course, is always a little hectic at this time of day, headed towards 190, headed north from the interstate. It's not as bad as it usually is right now, but that'll be changing shortly, I'm sure. 190 itself, right there at the Jubin light, is not too heavily backed up at the moment. Other than that, it looks pretty clear. Even 447 is relatively clear right now for this time of day. So not too bad at the moment. Again, that wreck on Highway 16 north of Denham Springs is really the problem spot right now. So be aware of that. Our weather is brought to us by brproud.com. That's WVLA NBC 33 and WGMB Fox 44. We had some rain last night. Today it looks like it's partly cloudy with 89 degrees. It feels like it's about 96, so we're getting back into those dog days of summer, even though I think that really applies to August. Tonight, cloudy, a low of 73 degrees, only about a 20% chance of rain right now. So we'll take a look at those headlines that I was talking about. The first one, the Livingston Parish School Board is actually meeting right now as we speak. They moved their meeting up from its typical time slot at 7 o'clock to 4 p.m. this afternoon. And at the top of their agenda today are two committee reports. The first report will be from the Plant and Site Committee, which is recommending accepting quotes for insurance coverage for liability and property damage, cyber liability, and flooding. The committee also voted to recommend spending $225,000 to add additional parking spaces at the Literacy and Technology Center in Walker, as well as the installation of an information sign at the center that would run about $33,000. The action would be contingent on Southeastern Louisiana University, which shares the center, paying half of the cost. The second committee report will be delivered by Kelly Hennessy Dickerson. She is the chairman of the Cost Saving Initiative Committee, and that committee has discussed a way for board members to be kept informed about work orders in their respective districts, as well as using career and technical education, or CTE, students for in-house media relations services. We published an article about that yesterday. They took no action in that committee yesterday as they seek to gather more information. Superintendent Joe Murphy is going to sit down with the person that runs that program, Ms. Polazzola. So that's what's on the agenda for the Livingston Parish School Board, which is actually meeting as we speak. This is the one that I mentioned earlier. This is what our podcast, this next headline is what our podcast will be about. That's going to be released tomorrow, sometime in the afternoon. So it's a really complicated issue. So I'll give a brief overview, but really, if you want to get a firm grasp on what's going on with FEMA at the parish level, I encourage you to read our article online. It's livingstonparishnews.com, and also check out the podcast. Our publisher and editor, McHugh David, goes real in depth with this and breaks it down very well to make it understandable. Communication continues between Livingston Parish and the Federal Emergency Management Administration, that would be FEMA. First, the parish received a community assistance visit from local third-party auditors that work through FEMA to assess NFIP and community rating system compliance. The NFIP is the National Flood Insurance Program. The result of that visit was removal from the CRS and a subsequent letter back this past May that stated the parish would have to create a corrective action plan to receive an invite back into the program. If you don't remember, or if you're not familiar with the CRS is a program that allows communities to receive discounts on their flood insurance. Previously, Livingston Parish was at a 9 rating, which gives residents a 5% discount. After being removed from the program, that 5% discount has been taken away. That does not apply to Walker and Denham, who have their own CRS certifications and ratings. So they have to come up with a corrective action plan. The council addressed a part of that corrective action plan when it passed a freeboard ordinance that requires all homes built after the passage of that ordinance to be built 1 foot above base flood elevation, or BFE if you're more familiar with the acronym. However, it appears the intent of the first letter was misinterpreted. Also within the May letter, that's the second letter that the parish received, were several mentions of the number of homes that were inspected for substantial damage. According to FEMA, only 300 homes, roughly, were submitted as inspected for substantial damage. FEMA's internal data suggests that number should be closer to 4,000, although they're willing to pare that down should evidence prove otherwise. As a participating NFIP community, remember NFIP is the National Flood Insurance Program, Livingston Parish has agreed to both adopt and enforce minimum floodplain management criteria, which must be applied uniformly. The letter goes on to say that Livingston Parish had not conducted substantial flood damage inspections or determinations at acceptable levels following the flood of 2016. Failure to deliver these activities in the times requested could jeopardize the community's standing with the NFIP and result in loss of many types of federal assistance to the parish and its residents, said a third letter which was dated August 29th. There is a lot of information going on here. There is a lot of moving parts that are happening here. We are covering this in an in-depth podcast that will be coming out tomorrow. We also have an article on our website that goes into all the details on this, gives you some more background information as well as steps that are moving forward. So I invite you to check that out on livingstonparishnews.com. Again, our football podcast is uploading as we speak, and this week there's a big rivalry, as I mentioned, on the eastern side of the parish with Albany and Springfield meeting up. We have a great write-up looking forward to that from sports writer Rob DeArmond. Albany coach Mike Janis and Springfield coach Ryan Surpass know all too well that the Albany-Springfield rivalry is all about. They've both experienced it from both sides, Surpass as a player and now coach of the Bulldogs, and Janis as an assistant at both schools before becoming the Hornets head coach last season. Neither coach is getting caught up in the rivalry, which resumes at 7 p.m. Friday in Springfield, but both know that sometimes it's easier said than done while preparing for the game. Again, this looks to be a really fun game for those communities, and it's going to be featured. It's featured pretty heavily on our podcast. So definitely check that out. It's available online at our website, livingstonparishnews.com/podcast, as well as major podcast apps, and that should be coming out later this evening. As always, visit our website for all of the latest news. It's livingstonparishnews.com, $5 a month for a digital subscription, $10 if you want it mailed to your mailbox, if you want to get the paper each week. We also have our app, which pushes out notifications for everything that we publish, including breaking news, which is always free. It's a great way to stay up to date on what's happening right now in Livingston Parish. Give us a like and follow on all of the social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And don't forget to check out our podcast. We will have 3 coming out this week. We have 1 up already. The second one is uploading right now, and we'll have another one tomorrow. So give us a listen there. We also have video versions of that available, as well as the audio and video of these morning and afternoon shows available on our website, and the audio versions of the long-form podcast on the podcast apps. So one more look at weather. Weather hasn't changed too terribly much right now. Still 89 degrees with a feel of about 96. Partly cloudy. The low tonight will be 73. Cloudy skies and a 20% chance of rain. And the traffic looks like it's starting to build up a little bit more to the west of us on the interstate. It's starting to reach the Millerville exit now. Again, that wreck is still being worked on Highway 16 to the north of us. Other than that, not too much has really changed just yet, but give it a few minutes and I'm sure it will. It is that time of day. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Drew Walker, Community Liaison here at the Livingston Parish News, and this has been the LPN Daily Show for the afternoon of September 19th. See you next time.